Hey gang, this is my very first Plan With Me video. I had some people request more information about how I use some bullet journaling methods. They specifically wanted to find out about my weekly overview, and so this is me giving this a shot. I realize the quality is not going to be up to par. This is not what I do for a living. I'm actually a project manager, and I will try to highlight that during this video, how I use really the Hobonichi Cousin is my hub, if you will, and how I use that to manage projects that I'm working on, but also how I use it just to keep track of my life, things happening personally, things that I want to remember, because I do a lot of record keeping when using this as well. And I do a lot of health tracking. I have mentioned in some of my posts on Facebook that I have congenital health issues that lead to exhaustion. I have some chronic things that are going on, and I've been using my Hobonichi Cousin to help me see trends and figure out ways that I can better support myself to live a normal life. So this is this week. This is the method that I've been using for a while. Obviously, in the weeks section, you have the hourly on each day. That doesn't really work for the type of work that I do, and it doesn't really work for my brain specifically. So I've sectioned this off. I keep the appointments that I have that are absolute on the top. I also might write just something of an overview of what I expect to accomplish in that day. And then in this section, I use kind of a BuJo method. While I can look at my entire week right here, something about breaking it down in this way really helps my brain. So I write out about meetings, volunteer work, some specific projects, and then digital work, appointments, which could be work related or personal. And then I've got errands, chores, and special, which the specials may be kind of a catch-all. Sometimes it may just even be something like, oh, I'm going to a concert or whatever. Obviously, I have the week laid out here, and then I mark off the days when I have some very specific things. Like in this case, I've had meetings Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I have a meeting coming up this Sunday. I have volunteer work planned for Saturday. Here's all the days where I had digital work planned. We'll notice that I have digital work written in. And that's actually why this method is really helpful for me, because I start my week by filling this out and saying, these are the absolutes. I have meetings Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday this week. Then, as I continue to fill in, I can see where I have holes and free time. And sure, I could have seen that if I just look across here, but this just helps me. It helps me with my prioritization as well. And so I had this basically free day. I didn't have any appointments. I didn't have any meetings that I needed to deal with. And so I recently wrote in that I would get some digital work done today. Later on, I will mark that off in here that I did do digital work on Friday, and just kind of keep that also as a memory keeper, right? Then over here, I have just my weekly tracking. This does coincide with my yearly tracking, but I find for me personally, I definitely need to keep myself accountable during the day and during the week and during the month. Otherwise, especially things related to my health, slip through the cracks very quickly. And some of the comments that I got through my Facebook page that really moved me were other people dealing with chronic health issues. And they were expressing how glad they were to see how I was tracking some of that. And I understand some of you are going to try it, and I'm so glad. For me, I need to keep track in multiple ways because I get hyper focused on my work and completely forget about myself. So one of the things I track is my water intake, and if I look at this I look at it during the day, so I'll mark off as I'm hitting certain water goals. And as I mark it off, then okay, now I know, hey, I need to either I'm doing a great job or I need to drink a bit more. And then too, as we can see, like on Monday, I hit my water goal. But on Tuesday, I fell short. So when I started working on it on Wednesday, I was like, oh, no, I gotta get back on it. So I worked harder and I got my water in. I failed yesterday. And so today I'm going to have to work extra hard. I'll probably try to drink a little extra water, just not that really probably does anything, but that's just how it works in my brain. In this case, you can see I just have a half mark, so I almost got to my water goal that day. But that's how I track that, and some of my this is all actually health-related goals. The other thing that I do is I mood track, and I keep track of my overall calories and my actual steps, in addition to my sleep. Now I do this again, it's on my yearly as well. The calories not on my yearly, but my sleep and my step goals are on my yearly tracker as well. But again, just looking at it by the day, it helps me go, okay, wow, I'm really not doing it this week. And how close was I the previous day? How much harder do I need to work today to pick up and get back on track? And then I do keep a bit of extra information. So like this week, like on Wednesday, I was extremely stressed. I did not get enough sleep, and I noted I had too much work, too many big decisions, and too many demands. And by kind of noting those things, it really does help me to understand why I might be missing the mark in certain things as it relates to my chronic health issues. So if I am feeling overworked and overstressed and I'm not getting enough sleep and I'm not taking care of myself in the way that I need to, I'm going to see a huge crash. And that is what wound up happening on Thursday. I didn't get anywhere close to the steps that I needed to get. I also had another bad night's sleep. And then I wound up getting a migraine. So what happened is I had to cancel a meeting, and that's never a good thing. So today I'm going to have to work extra hard. I got bad sleep again. That's definitely related to this continued stress. And if I'm not getting enough exercise and if I'm not doing enough of the things that I need to do to really take care of myself, it's going to continue a downward trend. So today, I'm going to try extra hard as the day progresses. So that's kind of an overview of how I use I think they call that a BuJo method, or maybe related to bullet journaling. I can't 100% remember, but there you go. I do color code. I actually only started color coding in my weekly this week. Previous weeks, you would see, I can show you, but I was not doing my color coding. I was just keeping it all one color. But I found that things just weren't standing out the way that I needed them to. So this color coding method, it directly correlates to my monthly overview. So let me show you my monthly. Here we are in October, and each color represents something that I do. So the green stuff that's on here, this is ongoing work. And then if I have something purple, that's a health thing, whether that's a doctor's appointment or check in with my nurse, or it can even be related to my spiritual health or just mental health related things, but anything that I even have basically planned, or that maybe it's even a win that I might want to notate on here, because this is also my just memory keeping. I just like to remember stuff. So it's not all just appointments, but mainly my monthly is appointments or special things that I'm doing. So like for instance, October 24th, I have been chosen to be the Pelican Hub Master in the city where I live. And so I have that going on that day. So I'll have special occasion things in here. Right now though, so this is because this is October and we're just barely in October, I have written in absolutes, but this will continue to get filled in as more things come up over the month. I use an overview of things that need to get accomplished during the month over here. And anyway, as I said, these colors correlate back to what I'm doing during the week. The red is related to sickness, so getting back to dealing with chronic illness. In this case, this isn't a chronic illness issue. This started in September. I got incredibly ill, just a virus that was going around, and so I notate that. And then I kept track there in red that even though my fever had gone away, I was continuing to have coughing. And that was mainly because even though here my cough is improving, I just wanted to make sure if I needed to share with my doctor that this cough has continued, the fever's gone, these other symptoms are gone, but the cough has continued and it's been this many days. It just takes a second, just write cough and remember that so that I can share it with my doctor. The other thing that I track, which anyone who saw my other posts about my yearly tracking, I use pink to signify my cycle tracking, and that correlates back to my yearly tracker. So I'll go back to that just really fast. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because I've already done a post on it. But I do track it here. And then I also track my illness here. So I actually have been sick with a virus 2 times in September. Yay, lucky me. So that really helps me to understand better when I look back later. Why didn't I hit my step goals? Why didn't I get more exercise in? Things like that. I can go, oh, that's right, I had that virus, and kind of just, give myself some grace on when I'm not hitting those goals. I also I use the monthly at the very beginning to track this same information. And then I add the amount of days between each cycle. So that's also information that I can share with my doctor as I deal with things. I don't have very much of 2024 filled in here. I didn't really feel like I needed it. But I, put some months in and then continued on. But same color works throughout. I actually also have it on my monthly spread, but that kind of information just kind of helps me. Whether or not it would help someone else, I don't know, but it definitely helps me. So getting back to this week, as I mentioned, I have started using the same color coding system in my weekly spread as well. And I think that's better. I think too, if I continue to make these videos and share them, you'll see other things that will change. For instance, previously I was keeping track of my calories at the top of the page, but I've now designated an area in this general health section for that. I do keep track of my sleep here, even though I track my sleep in this section, but I also like to see just, okay, what's going on each day. That just helps me. I work here the most throughout the week. I definitely need an overview of the month as I'm planning various things. I really have to manage my energy in a very specific way because of this congenital issue that I have. And so I have to look week over week to make sure that I'm not overdoing it in addition to just looking at my week in this way. So tracking it in so many different places, but specifically in this weekly, is really good for me. So in the weekly, as I mentioned, I'll say, oh my goodness, I'm really not doing great with my water. I need to make an adjustment. But if we go back to my yearly tracking, when I'm looking month over month, I do tally, like for instance, my water intake, and I set goals. So in July, I hit my water goal 18 times. In August, I tried to do better, and I did, and I hit 19. But in September, I really went downhill, and that is because of being sick repeatedly. I just had a really hard time managing my needs during that month. So I'm going to work extra hard in October to at least meet my August. Hopefully, I'm going to aim to do 20 times. I mean, my goal is 100%, but little by little. I find that if I make smaller goals, it's a lot easier for me to hit them. So that is what I do. Hopefully that's helpful. As far as other BuJo methods, I do use that over here. So I have the bigger, going back to the month, a bigger overview of things that need to happen during the month. And some of that information may get copied into my to-do for a particular week, which would, of course, correspond to anything that I have that are absolutes during the week, of course. But at the same time, if we look at the previous week in my weeks, obviously a check mark is signifying that I finished something. But when I use this arrow pointer, that tells me something did not get finished and I need to carry it over to the next week. And so I have some of that over here. And I will have to sometimes carry something over. Obviously, during the time that I was really sick, there were quite a few things that had to get moved. And probably this week, there's going to be some things that have to get moved as well. But that is what I do. I hope that helps you. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.